All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk to you all about the one rifle to rule them all, kind of the concept, what I define as the one rifle to rule them all, where I'm at currently with it, and some things I have coming up on the channel that I'm very excited about. And I wanted to do this in live form so that I could discuss with you guys and we could have a little bit of a debate or a conversation, better yet, because the one thing I know is I know nothing at all. I know what I know from my life experiences, but I also want to hear from you guys what you guys think. So, starting at the beginning, well, first of all, you guys might notice I'm not in the studio. I'm a little tired. I've been traveling up to Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm in the Ohio area for GunCon. So I want to give a big shout out to anyone who's in the Cleveland area. If you guys are available on Saturday, June 27th, I believe Saturday is 28th, maybe. Come check out GunCon and yeah, check it out. Darkness in the Darkness Bird. Okay, so um, where I'm at currently, I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I did a. Can you guys hear me? See me? Everything good? Because I'm in a new location. Wi-Fi might not be the strongest right now. So if you guys can hear me or see me if you have any issues, let me know in the comments. But where I'm at right now, what kind of sparked this idea is I've been chasing this do-it-all rifle for quite some time. Let's just define that real quick. What am I looking for in a do-it-all rifle? I'm looking for, obviously, MET-TC matters. Your location and what you define as the do-it-all matters to you more, than anybody. You got to define that for yourself. But for me, it's like a 1,000-yard in gun would be like the ideal in a perfect world. But really, realistically, 600 yards and in, being able to do everything with one rifle essentially, because no matter what rifle you decide to run, what caliber, what barrel length, what optic, what manufacturer, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you shoot the most is what you're going to shoot the best. And recently, I did a match that was probably my favorite match to date. It was my first two-gun match I've ever shot, and it was a phenomenal match. I want to give them a shout out as well. It's Centex Multi-Gun is the name of the organization. I did the two-gun version of the multi-gun event, so there was three gunners there, guys shooting shotguns and whatnot. I'm not a big shotgun guy as of right now. That may change, but I did the two-gun version of that. It was out at RPR Texas in Burnett, and it was it was an amazing match. It was really cool to get to run both my pistol and my carbine, my rifle, and be able to transition back and forth between the two. There was a pistol only stage. Every stage had at least some pistol in it for this match specifically that I went to, which was pretty awesome. Targets ranging from rifle targets ranging from 30, 40 yards away, 50 yards away, out to all the way out to 600 yards or 500 yards in this match, in this case, away, with a ton of wind, a lot of things, a lot of factors, shooting at different angles off of barricades, proned out different positions. It was a really cool match, and I took the 12.5 LMT out there, suppressed, which is a very uncommon gun to be used in those matches. The gentleman, Cody, who runs it, I actually called him, like, because I don't know what the rules were. I'm like, hey, is it even okay for me to bring this gun out? And he's like, yeah, you may, you're fine to run an SBR. It's open division, so you can run as many optics as you want. You could run whatever barrel length you want. Suppressors just aren't recommended because of timer issues, picking up the last shot, and also it may melt the barrel depending on how hot the suppressor is when you dump it in the barrel. But he was really cool about it, and I was like, look, the whole point of this is for me to put these guns to their paces so that I have a more informed review for you guys when that time comes for that full review. So I decided to run it anyways. When most guys are running 16 or 18-inch guns with huge 4-port brakes on them, there's two ways to really look at a match. Are you gaming it to win, or are you testing your gear? And I try to go the route of testing my gear. And it's nothing against the guys who are playing to win. That's kind of the point of the match. So it's nothing against those guys at all, but just this kind of sparked this idea in my head again. I've always been chasing this ever elusive do-it-all rifle. And of course, there's no such thing as a true do-it-all rifle. There's always going to be give and take. There's things that you have to give up in order to gain something else. You're giving up barrel lengths, you're giving up velocity in order to gain maneuverability, so on and so forth. But and I think that the most important thing that gets often overlooked in this whole conversation is the optic really dictates the capability of the rifle. You could have a Barrett 50 cal, and if you put a EOTech on it, you're only going to be effective and accurate out to 200 or 300 yards as far as the naked eye can really see. So it really does, the optic really depends on that. But I wanted to talk to you guys because I really had a lot of success for my first two-gun match. Again, not knowing what to expect, never shooting one, never running through one. I watched like one video on YouTube of a previous match that I'd found, and kind of had an idea going into it, but I, didn't know any of the stages ahead of time. And I ended up coming in 10th place out of 51 people and third in the 2-gun division, which this is not to beat my own chest. I made a ton of mistakes. There's a ton of room for improvement. And it's not like this was like a regional match. This was just like a local match. So it's not to beat my chest at all, but I was very happy with the way I performed. Probably would have placed much higher. There was one stage I just completely missed the target. But again, that's part of the putting yourself into these competitions and testing yourself against a timer when there's people watching. That the timer kind of wipes the slate clean. But the 12.5 LMT spec war, and I mean, it doesn't put any 12.5 5.56 gun in this category, is extremely capable, even out to those ranges of 500-600 yards. And I was one of the only people in my squad to actually clear the stage with the long range targets because I knew my dope. I was shooting accurized 77 grain. Well, AAC, it's technically open tip match accurized ammo. I've had good luck with it. I know some people haven't, but I was shooting decent quality ammo. It's very cheap for how good it is. Not a huge fan of AAC. It's just the cheapest. It's 55 cents a round and it shoots pretty well. So I keep buying it. But with that being said, I was one of the only guys with a 12.5 shorty to clear that whole stage and actually hit all targets from 100, 200, 3. I think it was 100, 200, 270, 370, 470, and then 500. And I really was surprised, but also at the same time, you'd be really surprised how many people were running 55 grain, didn't know what their holds were. It's not to knock anybody, but again, going back to, if I can create this one rifle that I can just grab one gun, and no matter what type of training I'm going to do that day, I can effectively, without giving up too much, train in whatever way it is, whether it's the up close fast stuff, CQB stuff, or training long range precision shooting, which I really, really enjoy, shooting steel at distance. And that's kind of the goal, is to have that one gun so that I can get extremely proficient with it, know it like the back of my hand. On that one stage I'm referring to with the long range targets, I had to stop when I got to the 370 and 470 and 500 and look at the stock and look at my dope card taped to my stock to remind myself. Because again, this is the third time I've shot that rifle. So again, I want to chase this thing so that I can accomplish one build. And that's what I would encourage most of my viewers to do as well, because you can only carry one at a time. I'm not saying, hey, only own one gun. This is America. I think they're great investments. I love them. Own as many as you'd like. They're awesome. But at the same time, the one really, really well, it's like the old saying, like, beware of the man with only one gun. He probably knows how to use it. That is a very true statement. And being a reviewer and going from this platform to this platform, most of the time it's AR platform, so it's not too much like bullpup to AK or this or that. But understanding what the rifle is going to do and it being an extension of you is way more important than having whatever name, LMT, KAC, whatever it is on the side of the gun. There were dudes, I mean, the dudes who like shot much better than me were shooting like arrow builds that they've had for like 8 years. They just knew them really well. They've been competing with them for a while. They might swap a barrel out, once they get shot out, but they shoot lights out with these guns, and I didn't see any malfunctions with them. So that's way more important. But to talk about the discussion, I want to get back to the conversation of this one gun. Let's check in with some of y'all's comments. Let's see what we got here. All comms good. Thanks, brother. All right, cool. Mark 18, poor man's Mark 12. The one gun to rule them all. Yeah, this is what we're going for. The one gun to rule them all. And the whole reason I'm talking about this is because I have this 12.5 LMT, which I really love. Again, not getting into specifics on the LMT. It's a great gun, but insert any 12.5. Geisley Super Duty. I also love the Super Duty. The Griffin Mark II 12.5 has also been incredible for me. They're all great, right? You don't have to have any specific gun, but what I have coming in the pipeline that I've been waiting on for quite some time and I've been debating for quite some time is a 6-arc topic. And again, going back to this love of mine, my personal love, not that it's like the most realistic thing that I'm going to ever need to take a shot at 1,000 yards, but I do love going out and shooting steel at long distances. So that's one thing that I really, really enjoy personally. Again, is it the most realistic thing? Probably not. But in talking with people that I've spoken to in the industry, whether it be Blake Flannery, Force Recon Marine, or James Ferguson from XMTG, who is a ex-Mesquite SWAT team sniper instructor, on the military and law enforcement side, these guys are seeing engagements typically well within 200 yards. And you know, for a long time, I don't want to say I didn't accept it, but like I argued with it in my head. Well, like where I live, there are many wide open sight lines, and there's an argument to be made if, from a civilian standpoint, if you are in a scenario where you need your rifle, it's probably a really bad day, but most likely, the most likely scenario for which you and your people are going to survive is going to be holding base, not bugging out, but bugging in, bunkering down, and holding positions of overwatch with you and whatever crew. Hopefully, you have some crew of guys you train with who can hold a stronghold position. And the idea is keep people that are threats very far away from you. Is the idea, right? Don't let them get to your front door in a huge mob. You want to be able to keep them far away from you. And so there's arguments to be made, but from everyone I keep talking to, like, dude, you're never going to need to engage somebody. And we're not talking about self-defense, home defense stuff. We're talking about a wartime situation, a very bad situation, this hypothetical, because that's what the Second Amendment really is about, right? The modern day Minuteman. So speaking from that point perspective, as a civilian, if you're holding overwatch, if you're holding a observation post and you have very long sight lines, the idea is if you can identify a threat with good glass, high magnification, you can keep that threat far away from you and neutralize the threat long before they even pose a threat to you. That, you know, you can take out a target before their round even has effective, before they can even get effective rounds on you as the target. So that's kind of where I'm toying with this idea, and I'm finally falling in love. I found 12.5 is like my new bread and butter. Again, it's not like the 11.5 isn't capable. I think the 11.5 is great too. I just like the extra rail space in the 12.5, a little bit of dwell time, extra dwell time if you're running a carbine length like the Geisley. Not getting into the barrel length discussion, so I'm falling down this again. But I have a 14.5 6 arc coming in, which by all accounts, I have another friend who's a good friend of the channels who has a Geisley GFR 14.5 chambered in 6 arc, and he also has a Ruger rifle. Don't know what model it is. Also, it's an 18-inch chambered in 6 arc, and he told me the velocity difference between the two is something astronomically low. I think it's like 160 FPS. Maybe it's less than that. I think it's less than that, actually. I should look back. It was small enough to where when I was asking him, hey, should I build a modernized Mark 12 in 6 arc, be it an 18-inch barrel, or should I go with the 14.5 or the 12.5? And his opinion, 14.5 from his ballistic calculations and his chrono data is really the sweet spot for getting the most out of the caliber while still keeping it relatively wieldable with a suppressor, so on and so forth. I definitely intend, after I get some time behind 6 arc, to at least consider getting a 12.5, either Noveski or a Ballistic Advantage, whatever I can get my hands on, worked up by D. Wilson Manufacturing and converted so that I could put it in the LMT Spec War upper and run a 6 arc Spec War. That's something I would like to do if I fall in love with the caliber, like I think I might. But for right now, I wanted to just hear from you guys what you guys think about this topic. Let's go through some of these comments. Poor man's Mark 12. Yes, sir. 12.5 6 arc. So we have some people chiming in already, giving their perspectives. Let's see here. I have a 12.5 6 arc, and it is phenomenal. So what do you love about it? You have a Noveski barrel in that, it sounds like. Yes. So here's the thing about 6 arc. I think eventually it's kind of already started to happen. 6 arc is kind of like, it should be called the AR-14. I call it, right? Because it's not quite an AR-10 and it's not quite an AR-15. It will work in an AR-15 upper and lower, just to be very clear. The upper I have coming in is an AR-15 upper. It will work with a regular lower. But I think if the round becomes more popular, well, here's the thing. It's a double-edged blade, right? If it becomes more popular, you're probably going to see people moving to like a medium size frame between the AR-15 and the AR-10, like they have with the LWRC. I think it's the 6.8 SPC, which is it's already kind of a slightly larger frame and receiver set than the AR-15 to account for the 6.8 SPC. And they have magazines. Magpul has magazines to accommodate for those. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, that's the plug and play upper and lower you should be going with, but they do fit. 6 arc does fit in an AR-15 upper and lower. The issue, from what I understand, with the bolts wearing out is that the back of the case is so wide that you can only get the bolt head walls start to get very thin, and that's where you're starting to see failures with the 6 arc because it is a higher pressure round. So from what I understand, that's the reason for people considering going to a medium-sized frame receiver rather. But I think that if it does become massively popular, it's going to have to stay within the AR-15 frame because that's where most people have their inventory, right? Everyone has an AR-15. So if you could just change a bolt out, change a barrel out, and we can maybe get some better material sciences, which we already know. Again, here tuning is a big part of that, keeping those parts from wearing out really quickly. But the round counts are pretty low. Noveski is claiming that they're going to be, sorry, my baby's resisting going to bed right now. So if you hear some screaming, that's what it is from the other room. And she's out of her schedule since we're traveling. But Noveski is working on, from what I understand, getting the bolt to last as long as a barrel would last, essentially. So getting it up to the 10, 15,000 round mark is kind of the goal, so that when you need to swap a barrel, you just swap the bolt as well, and you're golden. That's kind of the way I've seen it going. But again, the whole idea is if and when I can get to the 6 arc 12.5, and if it performs like I think it will, and if the ammo cost keeps going down, I think it would be extremely advantageous. And this is all speculation. This is all just me being excited about the future, things that are coming up. Because if I can grab one gun and do any type of training that I want with it, that would be the ultimate gun. That'd be the one gun to rule them all. If I'm 1,000 yards and in, because I mean, let's be quite honest, most people don't even have the ability to shoot past 100 or 200 yards wherever they are. They might, I have to drive an hour and 30 minutes, even in the great state of Texas, to get to RPR. It's like an hour and 10 minutes, but depending on traffic. So if 1,000 yards is the furthest I've ever shot, and that was with a 308. I haven't even taken my 7 PR. Okay, take that back. I've taken my 7 PRC to 1,000. I've taken a 6.5 to 1,000. But the one I've shot consistently, like over and over again in 1,000, is my HK MR762A1 version. That's just because that was my one DMR I had for the longest time, and I love shooting long range. So I've shot that many times to 1,000. But again, RPR has extreme long range as well. They have out to a mile out there. I've never gone past the 1,000. And if I can just grab one gun, no matter what I'm doing that day, whether I'm going to shoot build drills, whether I'm going to a Ryan training group CQB course, or whether I'm going to shoot medium range, like do a 2-gun match, that would be the ultimate gun. And that's what I've kind of been chasing. Now there's a whole bunch of topics, optics to consider, other things in the setup, right? Like right now, that 14.5 that's coming in, I was lucky enough to have Steiner send out one of their H6 XIs, which was recommended by one of you guys, the viewers. One of you guys were really pushing for me to get the Steiner H6 XI to the 12. So Steiner was kind enough to send that out with an MPS for a top dot mount. So that's kind of going to be the optic setup on that guy, at least to start. And depending on how that goes, and depending on how much I fall in love with the 6 arc, if it really does start to, if I do fall in love with it, because ammo, I mean, it's definitely not as cheap as 55 cents a round, but it's definitely not as expensive as 6.5 Creedmoor, depending on where you get it from. Like I think Brownells, let me look right now. This might be a good time while I'm searching something to plug the channel. If you guys do want to support the channel, rangedaybro.com. We have a discounts page. They are affiliate links. So if you guys shop with those, it does support the channel. Brownells is the biggest sponsor. So RDB10 will save you guys over there. But let's look what Brownells is selling. ELD match ammo. Yeah, so Hornady ELD match 6mm arc on Brownells, currently unfortunately out of stock, but this is the stuff I bought. The Hornady black 6 arc is in stock. So both of them, the black is $1.26 a round, and the ELD match is $1.27 a round. So for match ammunition, pretty incredible pricing. Because again, if besides the AAC stuff, and I know there's like endless options with 5.56, which is awesome, but most of like the most accurate 5.56 ammo I've ever shot is between the Federal Gold Medal Match King or 77 grain Botail hollow point stuff, or it's the Norma 77 grain Botail hollow point. That stuff is also incredibly accurate. Both of those rounds are well over this price point. Well over. They're like $1.50 to $1.75 a round when I find them. I'm sure you can find them for cheaper. Actually, I haven't looked recently because I just buy the AAC stuff because it's so cheap. But yeah, that's pretty incredible pricing for accurized Hornady factory loads. The black is a little bit more, I guess we would call budget, but and I typically haven't had the best luck with Hornady being like the most accurate stuff ever. It's never just trash. I've actually had the worst luck with Black Hills 77 grain. That stuff, the chrono doesn't lie, guys. Black Hills 77 grain is not great. The standard deviations, the extreme spreads are way larger than even AAC at a third of the cost. So sorry to all the fans of Black Hills out there, but that's just the truth. So for it to be coming in at $1.27 a round, not cheap by any means. I don't know who's making like ball ammunition for 6 arc. If someone is, here's a V match Hornady round for $1.30 a round. What is the grain weight on this? Let's see. Does not say. Interesting. It's definitely more expensive. Let's not get it twisted. It's definitely more expensive than 5.56. And the glaring issue, the biggest issue with moving to 6 arc is going to be compatibility with the squad, and that's going to come down to just decades and decades of the AR-15 and 5.56 just ruling the market, especially on the civilian side. So, but there's a case to be made that if the military does start to adopt 6 arc, which again, if you take what Noveski's saying at face value, they are working with some departments in the military, and they built this rifle, the 6 arc rifle, for a military by a military request rather. And I think I forget who they partnered with to do it, but 6 arc, I think Noveski was kind of brought in, from my understanding, at the beginning, at the conception of 6 arc, to kind of create this replacement for the AR-15. And so if the military does pick up the 6 arc, then I think there's a much better case to be made that eventually a lot more people will start running it. And then the hope is, okay, the idea is, if it can replace 5.56, if it is that much better, if it does deliver that much more energy on target, which it does on paper, it does, right? But if it can remain in the zeitgeist long enough to become mainstream, then the biggest issue with it being that people don't, your squad's not going to be running the same ammunition as you, then goes away, because we're solving magazine issues. We're solving bolt issues with better materials. All these things can be solved. The one thing that like is left out in the open, exposed for everybody to see, is like, hey, the guy next to you is not going to be shooting the same round as you. And as we all know, like, fire superiority, suppressing fire, having more ammo is very important. And if you run out of ammo, having compatibility with your team or the guys you're running with. So, but the beautiful part about the capacity thing is that, Geisley now has, I believe, a 30 round mag. Let me look that up too. It might be 25. Somebody let me know down in the comments while I'm looking this up. But I don't actually have a Geisley mag yet. I have an Elander mag. Let me see what it's on. It's on this page right here. Yeah, Elander. So I haven't even actually started testing those yet. I have an Elander and I have a Duramag, a 25 round Duramag or 29 round Duramag, and a 25 round, or 20 or 25 round Elander, which again is just waiting for this upper to arrive. I'll give him a shout out. 801 Weapon Works is the guy who is sponsoring that upper and putting it together for me. So very excited. Again, one of you guys, one of my subscribers, recommended him to me, and I reached out, and he was nice enough to throw one together with a Noveski barrel. So really excited about that. Same guy, same subscriber who pointed me in the direction of 801 Weapon Works. Also sent me some videos of a coyote he shot with a, I think it was like a 58 grain. He said something like ridiculously light for 6 arc. And it just, it was a devastating exit wound on the coyote. Let's just say that it was just missing a lot of mass from the other side of it. So let's see here. Speaking about the mags, Duramag is the best so far in the Geisley mags, but the Geisleys are expensive. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, again, the more mainstream it becomes, the more people will get into making these. I mean, I know Magpul already makes one, but it's not for the AR-15 platform. So hopefully Magpul will start making PMags. Varmint Hunter, yeah, that's probably the one. Again, without going back and checking. Here it is. Hornady and Noveski paired for DoD contract trial. So that's the thing I'm referring to. I forget the dude the name of the guy who's been in all the videos. He was on Dirty Civilian, I think it was, and a couple other channels talking about his rifle, his kind of do-it-all rifle. I believe it is a 12.56 arc, and he's got that thing all tricked out, 2 to 10, Leupold on it, TACOM prism for that adjusted zero quickly. Yeah, let's see here. Ammo is the same price as high-end 5.56. Yes, we just covered that. Do they have any optics specifically for 6 arc? I don't know, and I'm not a huge fan of bullet drop optics and reticles, because then you're stuck with one bullet weight, one barrel length to kind of match the reticle. I'm a fan of a mill reticle, which I got a little lesson in that, I guess you could say, from some of the better 2-gun and 3-gun shooters at that match, were like kind of schooling me on why the BDC is better for matches, because you got 4 lines, you know which one's which, and you just hold. But if you know a mill reticle well enough, it's the same thing. I wasn't trying to argue with anybody. Those guys outshot me, so I can't really say much to them, but it really is the same thing. A mill reticle is, I guess, could be busier, but they have simplified mill reticles as well. Everyone running 6 arc now, don't get left behind. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an innovator. Like, I don't adopt things right when they come out, mostly because, money's still limited, and unless I can find somebody to sponsor it or send one out, like, I can't afford to just go out and buy every new gun and caliber that's out there. So I like to wait a little bit and see how things perform before I decide, is this really worth not only my money, but my time, which is even more valuable, obviously, because there's only a limited amount of time in the day. So if I want to review something, I have to put a lot of time into it to review it well and do it the right way. So that's something I've seen. But now that I have many friends and many people that are respecting the industry who are running 6 arc and PWS, like, they can't keep their 6 arc upper in stock. They were supposed to send one out, but they literally can't keep it in stock. So I'm waiting on that to restock for months now. And it's become very apparent to me that it's not going away, and it seems to be doing everything that it's promised to do. Again, the only downsides are ammo compatibility with the guys you shoot with, and magazine issues, as far as like having a reliable magazine. That seems to be mostly resolved with the Geisleys, and from what I've heard, Duramags are pretty decent. And then lastly, the major one being the bolt issues. But again, it seems like the Noveske bolts are lasting. Last I heard, they're lasting 3, 4, 5,000 rounds. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to keep a very close eye, as I do on all my reviews, of the round counts, to make sure that I know exactly how many rounds are going down range. So if I have an issue, Mac Johnson, yes, that is correct. I know that's correct because it does sound like a porn star name. So yeah, that is his name, from Noveske. Seems a cool dude. Let's see here. So 6 arc came out in 2020. They fixed the problem with bolts, and all is good on this side. Okay, cool. What bolt are you running again? You probably said it already, but JP been running solid. That's what I heard. I heard JP was the best for a while. I've heard Noveske's kind of stepped their game up from, again, what I've been hearing. 6.5 Creedmoor hits harder for further distances. Yeah, I don't disagree. This is I don't want to say argument. This is a little debate me and my buddy Steven had, which was and he was claiming for the price, the ammunition being about the same. Again, I don't know. I don't buy. I mean, I do buy 6.5 Creedmoor, but let's see how much 6.5 Creedmoor is going for right now. He's saying, why not just shoot the 6.5? I mean, that's a good argument for somebody who likes to sit down on a bench and shoot, right? But if you're going to be going out, trekking around this thing, running and gunning with it, I mean, there's a very clear difference. Even the 14.5 6.5 Creedmoor barrel, I just got one from D. Wilson Manufacturing. Just bought one from them, one of the factory LMT ones for the MRGGA clone that I'm working on. Not really a clone, but the ish clone. It's still like substantially heavier than an AR-15. Everything's bigger. The bolt's bigger. Everything is larger. I mean, it's still mil-spec buffer tube on the LMT, but the receivers are larger, the bolt's larger, the mags are larger, the ammunition weighs more. So everything is larger. So it still is a bit more of a tax on you, I guess you could say. So Hornady, that's 6.5 Grendel. So like Hornady Black 6.5 Creedmoor is $2 a round. 6 Grendel. Let's see. Hornady American Gunner 6.5 Creedmoor is $1.40 a round. So yeah, that's one that's about the same price. Boto Hollow Point. So yeah, accurized ammo prices, but for the most part, it is more expensive than the 6 ARC. Here's a box of Cellar and Bellet for 140 grain. I don't think this might just be FMJ, but it's $1.05 around. I'm sure that's just FMJ. Let's see. Soft points. Okay. Either way, it seems to be mostly cheaper than 6.5 Creedmoor. So yeah, it's just a lot heavier. It's going to be a lot more taxing. It's not going to be as fast if you're trying to run it like an AR-15, like a 5.56 gun. It's going to be a lot more difficult to do that effectively. So I get it. Like if you want the absolute most, energy on target, then hey, why not run a 7 PRC or why not run a 308? 6.5 Creedmoor. I get that argument, but it's really not to say. And the old school mindset was like, okay, hey, you just getting into it, right? Like get a Mark 18 and then get an 18-inch upper and slap the 18-inch upper on the Mark 18 lower, and now you have capabilities out the distance. Well, same thing can be said for 6 ARC rather. Instead of slapping a 5.56 upper on the top of that rifle, you can slap a 6 ARC upper on that rifle, and then you have a whole different set of capabilities with more energy, way better ballistic coefficient out the distance, so on and so forth. But let's see. With 6 ARC, if you just had to, you could carry a 5.56 upper, 6 ARC upper. Yeah, exactly. That's the beautiful part about like, hey, now you just buy another upper, and for relatively cheap, you can buy AR-15. Like you can buy any Arrow Blem upper on the internet, any upper you want. Get a 6 ARC barrel, get a 6 ARC bolt, get a BCG for 6 ARC and a handguard, and now it's substantially cheaper than buying an AR-10, buying a complete rifle. So I don't disagree with that. But and now another thing that I want to mention is the whole NAS3 shell shock technology with the case technology is now being used for 6 ARC as well. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well. It's like that technology isn't just reserved for 5.56. I think it's great for 5.56. I think it is the future if they can even keep up with it or sell it for. It's selling for relatively cheap again, comparatively, and it's getting you way better velocities with 55 grain. With 77 grain, it's like 100 feet per second from what I'm seeing difference, or like 120, which is still huge, but it's not going to measure up to 6 ARC. So now you take that same technology, you put it on the 6 ARC, and now you have all the benefits of the shell shock capacity, more powder in there, so you're getting better velocities, but now it's with a better bullet that has a higher BC and more energy on target. Yeah, that's exactly what I was mentioning as well. So the whole mindset for the last 10 years has been like, okay, you're starting out, you need hey, what should the brand new guy get? Like reliable pistol, whatever it is, call it a Glock 47. That's probably the one I recommend nowadays. Glock 47, get a Mark 18 or a URGI 11.5 or 12.5, something like that in 5.56. And then it used to be get an 18-inch Mark 12 upper. And then depending on what you're doing what mission set you need to accomplish, you could slap on the shorty upper or the longer upper. And now in this case, you can do the same exact thing, but instead of a 18-inch 5.5 or 5.56 upper, you could do it with a 12.5, 14.5, or an 18-inch 6 ARC upper and have way better ballistics, way more energy on target. But that's kind of where I'm at. That's the whole mindset in this 2-gun match was phenomenal. It was like very eye-opening. I actually impressed myself. I was very proud of myself, but I did the work. I went out, I chronoed my rifle. I made sure my zero was true with the ammunition I was gonna be shooting in the match. I made sure I put in my ballistic calculator. I trued out that information. I shot it out to those different distances, not the distances in the match, but different distances within my ballistic chart, made sure that those were correct. And then when I showed up, found out what distances we were at. I just jotted it down right next to my other mill measurements, and I knew exactly where I needed to hold. Now the wind was a whole different topic. With a 12.5 5.56 gun, I was holding 15 miles an hour, 15 mile an hour wind off the left edge, and thank God for the PLXC from Primary Arms has those wind holds, because again, the dudes who are running ACOGs that did not have wind holds, and again, I love the ACOG as much as I shit on it. Like, I really do like that optic, but those dudes didn't complete the course of fire. They just couldn't get the hit at 500. Some of them couldn't get the hit at 470. So, and other guys who were running LPVOs that didn't have wind holds, again, some guys had wind holds and they just couldn't hit it. That's cool too, right? Like, it's okay. I'm not like some like really impressive shooter, but the PLXC with wind holds really helped, especially with a 77 grain going, I think 2300 FPS at the muzzle. Like, that bullet was getting pushed around. I mean, 15 mile an hour wind. I think it was probably like 2.5 mils or more, maybe even at 500, just 500 yards, which is far for 12.5, I guess, but not very far in the grand scheme of things. So, have I heard of Expo Arms, a Primary Arms company? I have heard of Expo Arms. I have no experience with their products. What's a decent 5.56 barrel I should buy for a URGI build? Not Criterion pricing. Okay. How much does Criterion cost? I don't even know what Criterion costs. Ballistic Advantage has been a great budget barrel for me. I've never had a Ballistic Advantage barrel that wasn't accurate. I've built a 300 blackout with a Ballistic Advantage barrel that had some gassing issues. It had a law tactical folder on it. I could never get it to cycle properly. I ended up selling that upper, but it still shot pretty accurately. For 5.56 gun, I've never had that issue. Criterion, $600. Yeah, that's pretty steep. I like Geisley. I mean, if you want to, okay, do you want a chrome line barrel? Is the next question I'd ask. If you want a chrome line barrel, I really like the Geisley stuff. Daniel Defense isn't bad either. I just have had better accuracy out of the Geisley barrels personally. Again, take it for what it's worth with a grain of salt. It's just sample size is 1 of 1 with the barrels I'm running. Those are pretty good. Yeah, those are in the $300 price range. As far as like the cheapest barrel, I would say Ballistic Advantage. I'd probably go with them. Or, I mean, I've heard good things about Roscoe. I just have never had the experience with them. There's so many good barrel makers. There's so many barrels out there nowadays. I would just go with somebody that has a good reputation for customer support. So if you do have an issue, they'll help you out. Again, nothing against Ballistic Advantage, but they answer the phone when I call, but the issue is they haven't been able to get things out of the door as quickly as they used to. So just keep that in mind when you're considering. Save up and get a proof barrel. Never actually had a proof barrel. Does proof make? I'm sure they do. Non-carbon fiber barrels? They probably do. Somebody can answer that for me. You should review the Geisley. Are you talking about the H-bar profile? That would be a cool barrel, especially with FRTs now. Kind of like a civilian LMG type setup. Proof is expensive. Proof's like $800. It is not cheap. But there's a argument to say buy once, cry once. But again, I don't think it's necessary, because for the price of a proof barrel, you could buy 2 or 3 other barrels. So if you shoot one out, I guess, what is your priority? If price is your priority, then you're limited there. But if your priority is like durability, yeah, their stainless is awesome. Are you talking about proof being $400, sir? In what world? I mean, yeah, I'd love to see it, but my proof 18-inch 6 arc is sick. Only $5.99 for stainless. Only, and then $5.99 means a lot of things means different things to different people, I would say. I don't look at a $600 barrel and say, wow, that's super expensive. But when I first started out, yeah, I probably would have shit my pants over a $600 barrel personally. Geisley makes the best barrel right now. As far as chrome, like cold hammer forged chrome line barrels, again, I haven't shot them all. The one that I would tell you to stay away from is FN. This is me personally speaking from experience. I had a 14.5 FN cold hammer forged chrome line barrel that shot absolute 3.5-inch groups at 100 yards. And I was grouping other Ballistic Advantage barrels much, much tighter. Not to say I was grouping them 1/4 inch, but they were, much, much closer to an inch or under an inch. So it wasn't me, but that was that. Sold that rifle as well, but I would just say stay away from the FN. And it could have definitely been a lemon, but PWS Mark 111 smooth. Yeah, I like PWS stuff, man. I've been running. I just got another one of their lowers. They've been coming out with some pretty cool stuff. They now have a Plan B style muzzle device and hub adapter for suppressors, which I've been running their hub adapter, not their muzzle device. I have been running KAK Industries muzzle devices, Plan B style muzzle devices. Those are pretty nice as well. PWS is, from what I understand, only long stroke piston stuff. I don't think they have any DI stuff, but I could be wrong. Q, BCM, or Super Duty uppers and go. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with Super Duty upper. Now that I've had more time with MIDI 12.5 mid-length gas systems with the LMT and the Griffin specifically, the Griffin is extremely well gassed, very nicely gassed. It's not overgassed at all. Now that I've had more time with the 12.5, other 12.5s rather, the Geisley is a little bit on the overgas side, but you get the increased dwell time, you get the increased reliability if that's important to you. It did shoot lights out accurate as well, and they do send it with a flow through Huxworks flow through muzzle device, so they are expecting you to shoot it with a flow through suppressor. With that being said, when I asked Geisley why they didn't do a mid-length 12.5, is they just told me that they could not get the reliability that they wanted while shooting unsuppressed with underpowered ammunition, which I don't want to say is widely used. It's definitely less widely used, not with the Russian ammo ban since that happened, but steel case ammo tends to be on the underpowered side. So they wanted it to be reliable with all the ammo types for the consumer market, being that it is marketed as the consumer, the civilian line of rifles, even though I think it is better than the URGI. So that was the reason Geisley told me that they didn't do the mid-length, but it's not like a deal breaker. If you just do a little bit of tuning, if you have a flow through can, great. If you don't, maybe do a little bit of tuning. I know there's different options out there for reduced thickness or reduced diameter gas tubes, which I don't have an experience with, but I've heard they work great. If you really want a tuned rifle and you're running a polonium suppressor, like a polonium 5.56 can, which is like notoriously a gassy can, or even the RC2, great cans, but they have a lot of back pressure, then maybe look into something like that to tune it better. Let's see. Yeah, there's all kinds of different gas lengths out there now. There's I think Geisley even has their Geisley gas length. But yeah, I've heard of this patrol length from Roscoe. It's the best between mid and carbine. Yeah, I don't have any experience with that barrel, but yeah, that's something to look into. Again, there's no end to the stuff you can do as far as tuning your AR-15 goes. Love your stuff, bro. Thank you. One of the very few I don't constantly trying to sell me on a product. I mean, dude, I just love guns, and first of all, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here and supporting me. Yeah, at the end of the day, I was you. I was the guy on the other side of the camera who was constantly buying things that people would hype up, and then I'd be very disappointed in them typically. And then I'd be like, dude, I have a camera. I shoot a lot. I love this stuff. I can kind of talk sometimes. So why not just start a channel? I'd encourage anybody, if you have a camera, you love guns, I mean, start a YouTube channel. It's free. It does cost you nothing. And at the end of the day, if you help one person out, maybe it's worth it. I love doing it. So as long as it pays for my hobby, if it can be net even, then I'm good. So no, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Blackout Defense. So Blackout Defense, same guy who pointed me in the direction of the 801 Weapon Works gentleman, also pointed me towards Blackout Defense. A lot of the stuff they're doing seems very, very interesting. It seems like a very high-end company. It seems like I've heard they don't even do blems. Like they literally will throw shit back in the burner and melt it down if there's a blem. I don't have any experience with them, but it seems like they're doing some cool stuff. I like the concept of the barrel profile itself being threaded, and that's what holds their adjustable gases. It's very hard to explain without actually looking at it. So if you guys are interested, it's definitely worth checking out their Instagram. I think Blackout is doing some cool stuff. I think that they're innovating in a way that is very open, like open source almost. Like they're like showing people what they're doing, which is really cool. I know other companies innovate, like Knights innovates, but they are very like hush hush and also very like screw you to the civilian sector, which I hate. I cannot stand companies that think they're above the American civilian population in the market. Like we are the biggest armed force in the world. So I really don't like companies that kind of talk down to civilians. And I feel like that's what's happening with Knights, or they think they're just too good, or they think that, hey, they're going to buy our shit anyways. So put some ridiculous price on it, make it super hard to get, or just they just go after the military contracts. Like, hey, you know who's paying for that? It's our tax dollars. So that kind of annoys me. That's why I started my channel, brother, to build community of like-minded people. Yeah, awesome. That's great. And I hope you have like-minded people that you train with. I've just recently, in the last year, been able to start doing that with the help of the channel a little bit, but mostly just from like organically meeting people, talking about things, talking about builds, talking about guns, and training with guys who are like-minded is an incredible superpower for many reasons. Like I grew up playing football and being in the gym and weightlifting and stuff, and it's an incredible difference the workout you get when you're with the buddies that you train with, that you work out with, and when you're by yourself. It's really easy to kind of cut yourself slack. And this is kind of going down like the motivation. I'm not trying to be like a motivational speaker here, but it's really easy to kind of like take it easy or do one less rep when you're by yourself than when you have the boys with you. Like, come on, bro, one more, that kind of like thing. And not only that, just challenging your ideas, like these concepts I talk about on the channel, these builds that I go through, the way that I train, the way that I shoot, kind of the way I'm structuring everything moving forward, and trying to optimize and take this limited resource, which is my time and my money, and make the most out of it. Having guys that think the same way, that have similar goals, that are in similar places in their lives, really helps. And that's kind of what I've got with some friends. I'll give one of them a shout out, Sweetie and Shoots on YouTube. He just does shorts mostly right now. He's a young guy, he's in college, but a really good dude. And he invites me out to his ranch, his family's ranch, all the time. We shoot out there. He does a little bit of camera work for me from time to time again, but him and his neighbor out there, we shoot all the time. We bounce ideas off each other. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We've invested in a lot more steel. Give a shout out to TA Targets as well. They've sent out a few steel targets for us to put up at the ranch. So we have some different distances we can engage at now. And I honestly would like to set up a mini 2-gun route out there so that we can do similar things that we did during that Centex 2-gun match, where you're running through shooting with your pistol or shooting with your rifle to begin with, whatever it is, engage these 3 targets at distance, switch to your pistol, just stuff that makes you think more and stretches and spreads out your training a little bit more and kind of brings it all back together versus like, okay, we're going to do the T-Rex Arms 50-round pistol drill. It's like all pistol. It's all really focused, 20 yards and in, whatever. It kind of pulls all that training in together. And it also incorporates some physical activity as well, running, moving, and shooting, things like that. So I think that I want to give a big shout out to TA Targets as well for sending out some more steel for us to put up at the ranch so that we can train more effectively. But yeah, community is huge. It's very easy to get in this comment section, or like once this video posts, this comment section will go away and there'll be a whole new comment section. And it's very easy to get discouraged just by like the negativity that's out there in the world. But believe me, when you meet people face to face, like I've never met a hater in real life. Like I've never met a dude in real life who's like, you suck, you don't know how to shoot, whatever. Like all the people who have no life, like say in the comment section, who literally aren't doing anything. Like, okay, great. Why don't you start a YouTube channel and put better information out there? I would love to see it. I'd watch. I'd be your first subscriber. That's what I tell people. Like I really am rooting for people. But community is massive. Let's see. It's hard to find friends that actually invest time and money into this hobby. Most guys just mag dump. Yes. It's a curve, right? This is where we all started. We all started taking cringe photos of our guns. Some of us maybe skipped that part. I definitely did when I was in college. I got my first pistol and I was like, check this out, dude. It's cool. We all start somewhere. And that's where, unfortunately, the majority of the Second Amendment community lives, in this like cringe world where they shoot at most like 3-4 times a year with their buddies in the backyard. There's nothing wrong with like having fun with their buddies and just mag dumping in the trash every once in a while. But at the same time, you could be the catalyst to those guys to be like, hey, I'm actually going to a match. You want to come? And when dudes see a match, whether it be a match or like, hey, I set up a little drill I'm gonna run at my place. Like, do you want to come? Or like, hey, I'm going to this range, this attack bay, and I'm gonna set up this drill. Like, you can be the catalyst that kind of maybe at least shows them, opens their eyes to this different type of training, and then be like, all right, hey, bring your rifle out that you love so much or that you think is the greatest thing ever. Let's shoot it out the distance and see. Like, have you ever shot that thing? How far you shot it? Like, just asking questions kind of get people thinking a little bit, and I think it will get a lot of, I don't want to say like, a lot of people puff their chest and act and think that they have these capabilities that they really don't, and myself included. Like, when I first started the channel, I thought I knew everything. Like, I thought not that I knew everything, but I thought I had been like achieved this level of shooting. And like, looking back, like, I was terrible. I'm still bad. I'm still bad now, and I shoot way more now, and I'm way better than I was then. But the difference is now I know how little I actually know now, even, and then I knew even less. So um, it's hard for people to kind of swallow their pride sometimes, but you could be the catalyst that does it for them, that brings them into the serious tip, I guess you could say. So it is hard, but um, thank you, brother. Appreciate that, Kevin. Yeah, I'm a dad first, and I'm a husband, a dad, and then a YouTuber last. Like, I mean, I do love you guys, I really do, but family's always first. But this channel also has given me. I gotta give you guys a shout out. It's given me the ability to be a better dad, to be around. My old job had me on the road all the time, and I'm grateful for that as well. Good experience. Got to travel a lot, but it was killing me slowly. My job was like entertain people, take them to the bars, take them out to dinners, and that's a good sure way to die. We're getting way off topic now, but now that I'm doing the channel full time, I'm really a full time dad first, and then the channel second. But it's given me the ability to have a lot more flexibility and do what I love. So I'm just a happier person, which is very important in life. Just being your best version of yourself, and everything else will fall into place. That's what I truly believe in. So if you can be a better husband, if you can be a better friend, if you can be a better son, a better brother, you're going to be a better shooter at the end of the day. And you're going to have more people who want to hang out with you. You're going to have more people who want to say, hey, bro, I was thinking about getting this pistol, but I don't really know. I'm a little nervous, then get them in the community, support them, be the guy that you wanted to have when you first got into it. Because maybe you didn't have that. Maybe you had to learn, like for me, I had to learn everything on my own. And not like, it's also not, well, I mean, I had a few guys who taught me a few things, showed me a few things, but for the most part, it was YouTube University that taught me everything I know. And there used to be a lot more that you could see on YouTube about how to do things, build things, customize things. Now you can't talk about any of that. But yeah, man, it was a long journey, because I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. And now the only thing I know is I know nothing at all. That's why I like doing these lives. The real talks are great too, but it's just me and the camera. Now at least I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you guys. I like to hear what you guys have to say about things as well, because I'm humble enough to realize I don't know everything. And some of the guys who come out and claim to know everything are the ones who are either trying to sell you something, or their ego is so inflated that I really don't take those guys seriously anymore. I used to listen to them. Hey, I'm X this, I'm X that. Great. Let's see you shoot. Let's see what you can do right now. And it's not taking anything away from anybody, but it's just, you start to see right through the BS really, really quickly. So we got a little off topic there. This video has been going for 53 minutes. Any final questions? If you guys do live in the area, or I know it's super last minute, it's Wednesday and GunCon is on Saturday, but if you guys are in the Cleveland area and you want to come say what's up, I do have some small items, nothing big. There's one bigger item, I guess you could say. It's going to be first come, first serve for the people that meet up with me at GunCon. I'm going to give away a few items, some shirts, some merch, and then I have some stuff. So I don't want to give too much away, but RDB. Okay, this is a good question. I like this one. If you were on a team, what role would you play? Hype man. That's what I would play. Focus. What's up, bro? How you doing, brother? Thank you for this. That's really nice, brother. Thank you. Focus Trip, guys. I'm sure you already know who Focus Trip is. His channel is freaking awesome. Big fan of that guy. Super based. If I was on a team, what role would I play? I would like to think I'd be the DMR because I love shooting long range. I do shoot a lot of long range, I would like to think that I'd be trusted by my guys to be like Overwatch, but I would do whatever. I mean, I'm a team player, man. I've always been my whole life. I would do whatever role I needed to be in. I mean, I think that my skill set would probably best suited for long range. I just spend a lot of time shooting at distance. So I really enjoy it. And I think out of the guys that I train with, I think they would all agree that I'd probably be best suited for that role if it was needed. Um, that's kind of where my passion lies. I like shooting things at long ranges. I am not the best at wind calling yet. That just takes a lot of time behind glass. Wind calling is its whole own skill set. And that's like, as far as my long range capabilities, my long range skill set, that's where I'm lacking the most. Like I can look through my glass and I can have a guess and it's 50-50 whether my guess is even remotely close. And when you don't have a backstop, calling wind is very difficult. And the spotter, in my opinion, is just as, or probably actually, it's more important than the shooter. The shooter, with a good spotter, you can be walked in, as long as you have decent fundamentals. The newest target that we put out at my buddy's ranch is at 600 yards. Unfortunately, the only way we were able to get visual line of sight on that target was putting it up on like a 10-foot T-post. So behind it's just trees. There's no backstop. So when you miss into the abyss. You have no idea where your round's going. So that was a bit hard versus, a lot of people, we get jaded. We get a little false sense of capability by going to a great range like RPR where there's a berm 5 or 10 yards right behind the target. So if you miss, you know exactly where you missed for the most part. That doesn't exist in real life. In real life, you're very unlikely to be shooting at something that's standing directly in front of a hill. And if there's grass on that hill and it's not just all dirt, still, even then, it's going to be very hard to tell where your splash is. So I think if I had a role on a team, it would be DMR, but I definitely have a long way to go before I would trust myself in that role with the responsibility, because that's a pretty big responsibility. But yeah, focus trip. What a Chad, dude. Thanks for showing up, man. Always a fan of your stuff. Been a long time. So any mindset advice for people attending pistol and carbine courses? Yeah, the mindset advice I have for you, which is what I tell myself, don't stress. This is all for fun. This is all to become a better shooter. And like, stressing is not going to get you anything. It's easy to say. Again, I played football my whole life since I was 6, from when I was 6 years old till when I was 19. So it's been a long time since I played, but it was always like the pre-game anticipation. It's like the pre-buzzer going off anticipation. It's like 90% excitement, 10% nervousness. Just try to cool that. Try to have a good time. Don't take yourself so seriously. Also, if it's your first match, just make sure you understand the 180, you understand the safety stuff, because that's the easiest way to embarrass yourself, or obviously, who cares about embarrassing yourself? It's just unsafe. But also, like, you don't want to get DQ'd from a match and get thrown out of a match. So like, what I always tell myself is go as fast as you can safely go, and try not to miss a target, which happened in my last match. So yeah, that's kind of the advice I have, is don't sweat it. Don't take yourself too seriously, especially if it's one of your first matches. If you've been shooting matches for a while, I would say try to isolate what your weaknesses are and train those. So much like shooting in courses, shooting a match it's not the training that you need. What it's going to do is expose the training that you need to do on your own. That's the way I kind of look at it. When you go to a shooting course, a good course, whether it be pistol, carbine, precision rifle, whatever it is, all the courses I've gone to, they leave you with homework. They leave you with things to work on, because there's certain things that we're all pretty good at, right? Like for me, I'm great at proning out and shooting at long ranges. That comes easy to me, right? It's the easiest position to shoot in. What's a little bit harder is, because I'm not the most flexible dude in the world, I don't stretch like I used to, is those improvised shooting positions and getting a stable position off a barricade. Like standing's great, proned out's great. What about in between? Those are the kind of the more difficult things. So same thing for matches, except it's way cheaper than going to a course. So if you can't afford to go to an $800 2-day course that you're going to spend another $1,000 on ammunition for, I would say just try to focus in on, hey, like, where did I struggle? And for me, to be quite honest, most of these matches, I struggle on the mental aspect of remembering, my stage plan. Like the buzzer goes off and I'm like, my memory gets wiped clean. And then I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Which I guess in a way is good training for like a real world scenario where you're not going to know what the situation is. You have to process real time. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I've seen the stage. The buzzer goes off. I forget what I was going to do. And then I just start going through it. And then you see me, like I see myself in the footage because I have people record me or I'm recording on my glasses. And I'm like, I see my mental lag. And so that's a part I really don't know. I think just repetition, doing it more is what's going to fix that. I need to talk to some buddies of mine who are very high level shooters to see how they focus is one of those guys, very high level shooter, and ask them, what do you do to fix that? And again, I think it's just mostly the anxiety, the pre buzzer jitters, I guess you could say, that kind of make you go into that fight or flight mode, which is not where you really want to be in any gunfight. You want to be focused in, but unfortunately, I think it's probably the reality of how it would be in a real life gunfight, which, for full disclosure, I've never been in. But let's see. I am old and disabled, and I have to train hard to shoot medium to long ranges. That's why I love 6 arc shorty. Okay, cool. Let's see, 6 arc 12.5 from Blackout Defense. Review it, please. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty solid setup, pretty solid company. Again, no experience with them, so yeah. Also, don't go in trying to win. Go in trying to see where you are and try to outdo yourself. Yeah, 100%. That's everything in life. It's you versus you. I know it's kind of cliche, but my dad told me this my whole life growing up. It's you versus you. You're your own worst enemy, and everyone starts at a different place in life, whether it's financially, physically, mentally. Like you got to just outdo yourself and not try to compare yourself to everyone around you. Another gym example: walking into the gym and seeing a dude who's been on test for 10 years and just absolutely yoked, and this is your first day in the gym. Like, do not try to go up and lift the weight he's lifting. You need to just try to outdo yourself every single day, incrementally, step by step. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So I agree with that 100%. Yes, absolutely, guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. We're over an hour now, so my wife is probably like, what the hell are you doing? So I'm going to roll out. Again, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. If you're in Cleveland, come see me at GunCon. RangeDayBro.com if you guys want to support the channel. RDB10 over at Brownells. I love every single one of you guys. Christ is King. Take care. Drink a lot of water.